There are so many booktubers already. Why would people even be interested in listening to whatever I have to say? Hi guys, this is Japneet and welcome to my YouTube channel. So I've had a lot of thoughts before starting this channel, but now that I've finally done it, I will tell you a lot of things that I want to share, and I will start with the booktuber newbie tag that I've seen a lot of booktubers doing, and it seems pretty interesting. So let's begin with the first question. Why did you start this channel? So there was no particular reason to start this channel, and as I said, I have had a lot of thoughts beforehand. But the simple reason that I will share, or that actually made me start this channel per se, is that I love talking. And I want to talk about the books that I've been reading and the books that I've loved, and I want to recommend books and everything that is related to books. I want to be doing that, and um this is like the foremost reason for me to start this channel. Of course, monetization and stuff like that will happen whenever it has to, but that is not my primary motive. My primary motive is to just talk about books without the barrier or the restriction of a time limit that I get on Reels on Instagram. So I genuinely wanted a platform where I can talk about books without any inhibitions and without thinking that, oh my god, it's already 90 seconds, I have to stop now and edit the video and stuff like that. I don't want to do that. Moving on to the next question. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to YouTube, BookTube? So I think there's nothing new that I'll be bringing except for the fact that I love and adore Indian and South Asian literature. So my recommendations will majorly be from there, from South Asian literature and books by Indian authors and South Asian authors. And I also really like Japanese literature. So my recommendations will be very specific, and I tend to stay away from popular books and hyped books as well, because they've disappointed me in the past, and I generally don't like reading popular books. So my recommendations will be based on Indian and South Asian and Japanese literature. So I think that is the one thing that I can think of right now. Next, what are you most excited for about this new channel? I'll be very honest. What I'm most excited about is that I can talk freely without thinking about, oh my God, it's 1 minute, 30 seconds already. No, I can talk about the book that I'm reading and whatever I'm feeling about it for hours and without any inhibitions. I really like talking, as I said, and it's something that gives me a different sort of pleasure, and it's very very, what do you say, my prime reason for being here is the freedom to talk and the time that I'll be getting, and of course trying to make people read more Indian and South Asian literature. That is another motive that I have for being here. Next question. Why do you love reading? Why does anybody love reading? It just comes naturally to me, and I'll tell you something. I've been reading since I was 4 or 5 years old. I was introduced to books by my mother, and initially in my childhood days I read Ruskin Bond, Enid Blyton, and those Panchtantra tales and Champak, and much interesting stuff like that. And those books made me feel less alone, and I felt I belonged. In that time, I think that is one reason. And the fact that books made me feel seen, and they still do, is why I love reading. And the fact that I read mostly Indian and South Asian literature is the reason that, and the stories that I read uh, resonate in the fact that the characters or whatever decisions they are making impact me in a way that they give me some sort of wisdom. And the fact that the yeah, I mean, I think I'm at a loss of words because I love reading so much so, and I've never really thought about this, but I think this should be a comprehensible answer that I love reading because it gives me some sort of freedom. It also gives me an escape from the real world when things get too heavy. Yeah, moving on. What book or series got you into reading? Okay, this is going to be very much fun. As I said, I started reading when I was a child, like 4 or 5 years old. And gradually, as you know, I was in school and I was a science student in 11th and 12th. I stopped reading a lot. Like, I was only reading school textbooks and stuff like that. So I'd stopped. But somehow I decided to take up English literature as my graduation and post graduation subject. So, and of course, when you take up English literature, so you'll be, of course, be reading a lot of books. And it was in 2014 that I started reading again, and mostly classics back then because, of course, syllabus. But it was in 2015, and I distinctly remember this because it was my third or fourth semester. Yeah, third semester, when we had classical literature paper, and we were supposed to read Indian classical literature for that. We read Shakuntalam, and we read some verses from the Mahabharat. And in that year, we had uh, this book, Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni's The Palace of Illusions, as our suggested reading. And I don't know why, but I picked that book up because it was very enticing. And oh my god, I literally finished that book within 2 days. And that book has stayed with me. And I keep finding myself going back to that book time and again because of how beautiful that is. And I love that book. And that was the book that got me back to reading. And then I started reading mythological fiction again. I read a lot of books. And and then again I decided, like, that was that I started reading Indian literature very voraciously. And I was absolutely involved in all of those things and discussions. Cut to 2017, I started my master's program, and I was again back to reading classical literature in the first and second semester. But it was in the third semester, yet again, that I was introduced to South Asian literature. So we had a paper on South Asian literature in my university. Uh, and oh my god, that was such a great turning point in my life, because that's when I was introduced to Khalid Hosseini, I was introduced to Mohsin Hamid, I was introduced to so many different writers from so many different nations. And that's when I started reading South Asian literature. I was reading Indian literature till then, 2015 to 17. It was all Indian literature. But 2018 was the year I decided to dedicatedly read South Asian literature. And I even wrote papers on some South Asian countries and stuff like that. So it was in 2018. I also started my Bookstagram channel, which is by the name of Jap Reads, the same name here. Yeah. And ever since, it's been just going on. So, yeah, long answer, but I really wanted to share, and I just got excited and I just went on and on. Next question. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Nothing as such. I would ask them about, I think, all of these questions exactly about, and especially what got them into reading and why do they love reading. Moving on. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? So, see, as I said, there's no particular reason for me to be here. I just want to talk and yap about books and give you recommendations and tell you about my reading journey and stuff like that. So, I don't think there'll be any challenge to overcome. Yes, of course, finding people who want to listen to me talking and, you know, of course, subscribers and stuff like that. But genuinely, if I'm being 100% honest, I'm not really bothered about that right now. What I'm bothered about is probably one thing that I'm genuinely bothered about is being consistent, because being consistent is one thing that I find really hard to do. Yeah, so I think that will be one challenge that I think can be a teeny bit problematic. Next question. When did you start reading? I've already answered this. I started reading when I was 4 or 5 years old, not sure which year, but oh my god, it's been so great ever since I did start that. As I said, I got distant from reading, but of course, I found my way back. That's why you can see me here and see all the stacks of books here. Yeah.